As the nation's obesity level increases, so does the record spending on fast food. A proposal for a desalination plant is set to fight California's drought, but it may hit a roadblock. Hikers will have to find a new trail since Runyon Canyon will be closed for 4 months.
This is Valley View News.
Hello, and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Nicholas Seaman.
And I'm Delmy Moran.
Donald Trump called for fellow candidate John Kasich to drop out of the race. Trump says he should not continue to accumulate delegates if he has no chance of winning. Kasich responded to Trump's comments on Monday.
I saw something very interesting. Donald Trump said that I need to get out of the race because I'm getting his voters. Well, I've got news for him. I'm going to get a heck of a lot of his voters.
Ted Cruz released a new TV ad attacking Kasich's politics. Kasich responded that Cruz is just recycling failed Democratic attacks.
Bernie Sanders supporters in Los Angeles protested against news outlets last weekend, demanding better representation for their candidate. Supporters point out that the Republican candidates received 200 more minutes in news coverage than the Democrats last month. And out of those Democratic minutes, Sanders just got 10. Valley View News reporter Taylor Nwanko has more on the story.
Bernie Sanders supporters protested outside the CNN building demanding equal coverage of their candidate. The protesters say that CNN and other news organizations favor Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump more. Sanders supporters are asking for fair coverage of all candidates. The rally was organized by Eden McFadden and Jennifer Morsey. McFadden says the country needs Bernie Sanders.
It's like a whole new generation of people ready to take over this country.
Sanders supporters say CNN is biased and doesn't want to cover the Sanders campaign. Erica Parlier says she believes CNN has their own agenda.
I got my news from CNN. I actually really didn't know what was going on until I didn't even know who Bernie Sanders was. And I thought Bernie Sanders was just some guy that wanted to give away free stuff and have everyone smoke pot. I trusted the news to give me the facts. I'm just an everyday person.
Even though the presidential candidate did not come, the message still got through. Fair representation is needed. A protester held a sign that reflected studies showing how Trump has $2 billion in free advertising and Sanders has $300 million, 1/7 of what Trump gets. Sanders supporter Mark Gordon says CNN is not only biased but unfair to Sanders' campaign.
Okay, everyone in the media is blocking Bernie out. If you even hear different news, especially on CNN, the way they're even talking about Bernie, it's like they don't want Bernie to be a part of it. They try to block him out. They ask him different questions that they do different candidates. They don't give him the time. I was actually watching Bernie doing a speech, and they cut away. After he won 3 primaries, they cut away. They wouldn't even let him speak.
The protesters simply want news organizations like CNN to do their job and not be biased. In Hollywood, Taylor Nwanko, Valley View News.
Governor Jerry Brown signed into law last week an increase in the state's minimum wage. Wages will increase from the current $10 an hour until wages reach $15 an hour in 6 years. The first increase of 50 cents will take effect next January. The plan also allows for a temporary halt in yearly increases if a budget deficit of more than 1% is forecast.
The parent company of Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The U.S. Bankruptcy Court in California says the parent company, East Coast Foods, has debts between $10 and $50 million. The company was ordered to pay a former employee $3.2 million in October after the employee won a wrongful termination and discrimination lawsuit.
The obesity epidemic has gone global. The journal The Lancet says if current trends continue, 18% of men and 21% of women will be obese globally by 2025. In the United States, it says almost 50% of men and women will be obese that year. Lack of exercise and poor eating habits are the main causes of obesity. The study says the U.S. has a 0 chance to stop the rise of obesity.
Obesity has reached epidemic proportions in the United States. Valley View News reporter Caitlin Pei has more on the story.
More than 2/3 of Americans are obese or overweight. New data shows the obesity rate hasn't improved over the years. In California, 20 to 24.9% of people are obese. CSUN student Angel Johnson believes it is due to many Americans' unhealthy lifestyles.
Seems like we want everything big cars, big phones, big food. We have so many fast food restaurants and everything is so quick and nobody really exercises anymore. So I think that's actually the cause too. We're just kind of lazy and we want things fast.
Statistics show African Americans and Latinos are more likely to be overweight or obese than Caucasians. Each year, $147 to $210 billion is spent on obesity healthcare. ER nurse Christina Roger says obese and overweight people are also in danger of other health problems.
Consequences of obesity are diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, and other cardiovascular diseases.
Centers for Disease Control predict 1 in 3 adults could have diabetes by 2050. Over 30% of children and 17% of teens are obese or overweight. Educating children and teens is the #1 way to stop obesity.
A healthy lifestyle can help combat obesity. This means eating correctly and getting the recommended 150 minutes of physical activity. In Thousand Oaks, I'm Caitlin Pay, Valley View News.
As the nation's obesity levels increase, Americans are spending a record amount on fast food, more than $100 billion a year. Valley View News reporter Nicholas Seaman says many people ignore the health risks because fast food restaurants save them time.
The healthiness of our food has again come under scrutiny. More than 1/3 of American adults are obese, according to the National Institute of Health, and the number is expected to rise. One of the major reasons is the amount of cheap, processed food constantly available. I'm now walking down Reseda Boulevard, right next to CSUN, where within 1 block we have 9 fast food restaurants serving processed food. The World Health Organization says processed food can increase your chances of cancer by 18%. But with an enormous amount of fast food restaurants neighboring each other on every street corner, some find its convenience hard to ignore.
It's just convenient for lunch. It's just quick and easy to go there. So it's the only option that I really have.
As soon as I'm out of groceries and I don't have time to go to the grocery store again, or if I'm busy that day and it's just more convenient for me to go to fast food, I'll go to fast food.
The idea that buying processed food is cheaper than real food has also become a reflexive response. Regular takeaway consumer David Mayer says it's not just his money that he spends less of, but also his time.
In the society we live in nowadays, everything is so fast-paced. I don't really have 2 hours to spare at home to make lunch for a week.
So although a variety of healthy foods for a cheap amount are an option at the grocery store, many prefer the quick and easy, such as Subway sandwiches. Nicholas Seaman, Valley View News.
A new report says families with loved ones suffering from Alzheimer's disease struggle financially. Researchers say families spend an average of $5,000 a year caring for their loved ones. Spouses and partners spend the most, an average of $12,000 a year. The study says caregivers were 28% more likely to go hungry, 20% cut back on their own medical care, and that many families were unprepared for the cost of Alzheimer's care.
You've heard about putting sunscreen on your face and body before you go outside. But do you ever think about lathering your hands before you go to the nail shop? A new study says getting a gel manicure can cause cancer, although the chances are low. Frequent trips to the nail shop put wear and tear on the natural nail beds as your hands are put under UV lighting. The Skin Cancer Foundation says that applying sunscreen 20 minutes before your trip to the nail shop lowers the risk.
While Uber and Lyft's safety policies face major scrutiny, a new ride-sharing service focuses on women's safety. Chariot for Women, based in Massachusetts, is an Uber-like service that only hires women drivers. The goal is to give female passengers peace of mind by ensuring another woman is always behind the wheel. More than 1,000 women have already signed up for Chariot.
Princeton University will keep Woodrow Wilson's name on its School of Public Policy despite calls to remove it because of the former president's racist views. The Black Justice League on Princeton's campus held a 32-hour sit-in inside the president's office, demanding Wilson's name be removed from all programs and buildings. The university has decided to keep the name, but said it will implement changes to encourage more minority attendance. Coming up next, a desalinization plant tries to get approval in El Segundo.
And we have an update on the Running Canyon closure.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The Philippines has begun the first public immunization program for dengue fever. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne disease that affects 390 million people worldwide every year. The Philippines had the most cases over the past 3 years. The Philippine government is spending $76 million in vaccinations. The vaccine can reduce the risk of dengue by 65% and reduces hospitalization by 80%. The vaccine is awaiting approval in other countries. It is also needed throughout Asia and Latin America.
The bodies of 42 civilians and soldiers executed by ISIS were found at the ancient archaeological site of Palmyra by Syrian troops. Some of the victims found were members of the pro-regime militia and their relatives. 24 of the victims were civilians, including 3 children. News reports say the bodies were executed either by beheading or by shooting before they were buried in the desert.
More than 200 migrants in Greece were shipped back to Turkey this past week. The European Union and Turkey made a deal last month that migrants entering Greece illegally after March 20th would be returned to Turkey. The European Union and Greek authorities say they know the deal is dangerous for refugees, that Turkey is not a safe country for them. The migrants deported were originally from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Congo, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, Iraq, Somalia, Ivory Coast, and Syria.
Recent studies say sites ranging from New York to Miami can be completely underwater within the next several hundred years due to global warming. Scientific predictions say that sea levels will rise as much as 38 inches by the year 2100, causing possible flooding of major cities. Thousands of coastal cities may be at risk of being flooded or completely claimed by the ocean.
California is looking for ways to fight the drought. The South Bay has received a proposal for a desalination plant, but hit a roadblock. Valley View News reporter Jarina Silva has more on the story.
Hermosa Beach has joined the growing opposition for a new seawater desalination plant. The West Basin District has been looking at the NRG power plant right behind me to house the desalination plant if the proposal gets approved. It's on the border of Manhattan Beach and El Segundo. The Hermosa Beach City Council voted unanimously to send the district a preliminary letter of opposition. The district has already received a letter from neighboring city Manhattan Beach because it would cost $300 million. Critics say it also has harmful effects on the environment and marine life. Some residents think the plant would be beneficial.
You know, given the current drought conditions and so forth, I really believe that we need this freshwater access. As long as it doesn't negatively impact the ocean's ecosystem or prevent anyone from accessing the beach, I think it's a great project.
The plant would turn 20 to 60 million gallons of seawater into drinking water every day. In Manhattan Beach, Jarina Silva, Valley View News.
Hikers in Hollywood will have to find a new place for their daily workout because Runyon Canyon will be shut down to the public for 4 months. Reporter Dalmi Moran has more on the story.
Runyon Canyon, one of the most popular hiking trails for hikers and dog owners in Los Angeles, will be closing for 4 months starting April 1st due to a necessary pipeline renovation. Hikers came out to experience the last day at Runyon, but many of them are not happy about moving their workouts to a new trail.
I literally come here like 3 to 4 times a week, and that's partially why I moved in this area. I do fitness and training, and so I definitely plan on bringing people here and training them, and now I have to find somewhere else to go.
The Department of Water and Power will be replacing a 6-inch pipe that runs throughout Runyon Canyon. The DWP will also be repaving the trails. The renovation of the new pipeline is critical to prevent future threats to resident safety.
Well, the danger would be decreased fire protection. If there's a fire, the fire department might not have enough adequate water pressure to fight the fire. And if the leaks continue, could degrade the roadway in the area.
The pipes were not replaced during winter because of the predictions of heavy El Niño rains. The yoga field at the base of the trails will be open throughout construction. However, all other areas will be closed.
They have to do what they have to do, and it's just a small sacrifice. Eventually, it's good for us, for the environment, for safety.
Runyon Canyon will be closed up until July 31st. Alternative routes include Franklin Canyon, Mulholland, Santa Monica, and Griffith Park. In Hollywood, I'm Delmy Moran for Valley View News.
Now let's go to Jarena Silva with the latest news in sports.
Thanks, Nick. A water main broke at the Student Recreation Center at Cal State Northridge over the weekend, causing the building and its services to shut down. The SRC reopened last Monday with limited access to various amenities, including restrooms, showers, and towel service. The SRC serves more than 5,000 students every day. CSUN's men's volleyball team fell to Pepperdine in 4 sets last weekend. Saturday's defeat drops the Matadors below the 500 mark for the first time this season. CSUN has a record of 6-14 in the MPSF and will need a strong finish in their last 2 games for a chance to enter postseason play. The Matadors will travel to UC Irvine and UC San Diego to cap off the regular season. The Cal State Northridge women's softball team won 1 of their 3 games against Long Beach State last weekend. During Saturday's doubleheader, the Matadors won Game 1, 2-1. The 49ers won Game 2, 3-1. The Lady Matadors lost Sunday's game 2-0. The Lady Matadors will travel to Hawaii to take on the Rainbow Wahinis in a 3-game Big West Conference series this weekend. CSUN's baseball team kicked off league play last weekend against Cal State Fullerton, and it didn't go well. The Matadors were swept in a 3-game series, 7-4, 2-1, and 8-5. CSUN's overall record is now 20-8. It has upcoming games against UCLA and Long Beach State. Soccer star Abby Wambach has been arrested and charged with a misdemeanor for driving under the influence of intoxicants. Wambach was pulled over by Portland police after she failed to stop for a red light. Wambach failed field sobriety tests and a breathalyzer test at the precinct. She posted an apology on her Facebook page and promised to never repeat her mistake. Wambach retired from the U.S. national team last year and is the USA's all-time leading scorer. Clippers forward Blake Griffin played his first game on Sunday after missing 45 games. Griffin was returning from a partially torn tendon in his lower quad muscle, a broken hand, and a 4-game suspension. Despite being back and in the starting lineup, Griffin did not play his usual game. He only played 24 minutes, tallied just 6 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, and had 4 assists. In an interview after the game, Griffin said he was happy to be back and felt he was in better shape than he thought. Lakers trainer Gary Vitti was honored last Sunday during LA's game against the Boston Celtics. Vitti is retiring after this season. He served as the Lakers' head athletic trainer for 32 years. Head coach Byron Scott says even though Vitti never put on a uniform, he's just as important to all the championships the Lakers have won. Vitti will be a consultant for the team for the next 2 years. It's official, Shaquille O'Neal has joined Allen Iverson, Yao Ming, Tom Izzo, Cheryl Swoops, and Jerry Reinsdorf as the newest member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. Shaq made it in his first year of eligibility. Shaq started his career with the Orlando Magic after being the #1 draft pick in 1992. After 3 years, he joined Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. Shaq won 3 NBA championships with the Lakers and 1 with the Miami Heat in 2006. Shaq ranks 7th all-time in scoring, 6th all-time for shots made, 14th in rebounds, and 8th in block shots. That's all for sports. Back to you.
With only 5 months to go until the Olympic Games in Rio, tickets should be nearly gone, but so far only half have been sold. The Brazilian government is trying to boost ticket sales. The government has been buying tickets and giving them to public schools. Brazil is in the middle of political mayhem with its president Dilma Rousseff facing impeachment and the country in the midst of its worst recession in 25 years. In addition, the country is dealing with the Zika virus outbreak, high crime, and fears of terrorism. A British doctor has been accused of prescribing performance-enhancing drugs to many top UK sports personalities. Dr. Mark Bonar was investigated by the Sunday Times after it received a call from a whistleblower. The whistleblower was an athlete who was prescribed banned substances by Bonar and received a 2-year suspension. Bonar was recorded by undercover reporters admitting that he had treated athletes with banned performance-enhancing drugs.
The first passenger flight departed from Brussels Airport last Sunday, 12 days after the suicide bombing attacks. Security at the airport was on high alert with new check-in procedures for passengers. Passengers were being screened along with their travel documents and baggage. The attack occurred on March 22nd, killing more than 30 people in the Belgian capital. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attacks.
Alaska Air Group has agreed to buy Virgin America for $2 billion. Virgin America was launched in 2007 by billionaire Richard Branson. The airline's shares have increased 40% since news broke that it wanted to sell. It has also added more flights and has increased ticket sales.
An Amtrak train just south of Philadelphia killed 2 employees after it struck a piece of construction equipment on the tracks. Officials say passengers felt a jolt as the train slammed into a backhoe on the tracks in Chester, Pennsylvania. Nearly 3 dozen passengers were injured. Amtrak and government officials are launching an investigation into the accident.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it.
I know. Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Can't wait to make a
Dude, you better not be illegally downloading movies again. I don't want a virus on my computer. Seriously.
Yes.
Got it.
They got it. What an idiot.
When you rip off copyrighted material, someone could be ripping you off.
What the? Where's my money?
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
You're on your boat. Your engines are dead. You're starting to sink, and you can't get a cell phone signal. Thankfully, you have a Marine VHF radio on board tuned to Channel 16. The Coast Guard and other boaters monitor distress calls on Channel 16. A radio is the best way to call for help. Don't assume a cell phone will work. Communication is your lifeline. Be sure you're heard.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Tesla unveiled its new electric car Model 3. It is priced at $35,000. The 4-door car seats 5 people and can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 6 seconds. The car can travel 215 miles before needing to recharge, and that will only take minutes rather than hours. Within the first 72 hours, Tesla received 276,000 pre-orders for the premium sedan. The deliveries are scheduled to start at the end of next year.
Police have arrested a man in North Hills on account of premeditated murder as a hate crime. Prosecutors says 69-year-old Shahada Khalil Issa shot his son outside their home for being gay. Issa's wife was then found stabbed to death inside the home. The suspect told officers he had shot his son in self-defense after he discovered his wife's body. The death of his wife is under investigation. If convicted as charged, Issa faces life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are increasingly being portrayed in the media. The LGBT advocacy group GLAAD hosted its 27th annual Media Awards to celebrate the progress. But GLAAD CEO Sarah Kate Ellis says that there is also a backlash against the LGBT community. She says more than 100 anti-LGBT bills have been introduced throughout the country. Some of the winners at the awards banquet were Demi Lovato, Ruby Rose, and Caitlyn Jenner.
Now let's go to Alexis Liggins with the latest on entertainment news.
The 51st ACM Awards featured performances by Miranda Lambert, Billy Gibson, Keith Urban, and the Vocal Group of the Year winner, Little Big Town. But the most memorable moment was when Tim McGraw went on stage and sang Humble and Kind. The first award of the night was given to Chris Stapleton for his song, Nobody to Blame, which won Song of the Year. Thomas Rhett's song, Die a Happy Man, won Single Record of the Year, and Katy Perry presented Dolly Parton with the Tex Ritter Award for her movie, Coat of Many Colors. On the topic of awards, Taylor Swift has won the iHeartRadio Award for Female Artist of the Year, Song of the Year, and Album of the Year. Other winners are Adele, Drake, Selena Gomez, and Chris Brown. Justin Bieber won Male Artist of the Year. Fetty Wap won Best New Artist. Maroon 5 won Best Group of the Year. Foo Fighters won the Best Rock Artist of the Year. 21 Pilots for Alternative Rock Artist of the Year, and Luke Bryan for Country Artist of the Year. The battle between pop singer Kesha and Dr. Luke is not over. Kesha posted a picture of herself on Instagram with a caption that read, "God offered my freedom if I were to lie." Kesha said she was offered a deal to break her contract with Dr. Luke in exchange for a public apology and if she recanted her account of sexual assault accusations. Dr. Luke has denied all the charges, and his spokesperson released a statement saying, Kesha's Instagram posts are false. Actress Drew Barrymore and her husband Will Kopelman have released a statement to People magazine following the announcement of their split. The once married couple says, sadly, our family is separating legally, although we do not feel it takes away from us being a family. They were married for 4 years and has 2 children, ages 2 and 3. Well, that's all I have for entertainment. Back to you.
Hundreds of people are still making their way to pay their final respects for Nancy Reagan at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley. Valley View News reporter Stephen Fassel has more on the story.
This is what the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley looks like every day of the week. But on Sundays, the Presidential Library is lowering their flags at half-staff to remember the life of former First Lady Nancy Reagan. Although she lost her life last month, her legacy is still being remembered by the community.
I think she was one of the best first ladies we've ever had, and my goodness, 94 years old. That's a long time to live. Bless her heart. I'm glad they're together again.
I know she was getting older, and everybody has their time, and she's lived a good long life, and I'm just out here to pay respects for her passing.
Admirers continue to gather along Madera Road to drop off cards, flowers, and other items of appreciation in Miss Reagan's memory. Nancy said farewell to her husband in 2004. It was 2 years ago, on the 10th year anniversary of his death, that she laid a wreath at his grave.
She had such a storied career, starting in Hollywood and then following Ronald Reagan to Sacramento for the governorship, and then of course to Washington, D.C. for the presidency. So her friends and her impact span all those different regions.
Nancy Reagan is now lying peacefully beside her husband. From Simi Valley, this is Stephen Fassel, Valley View News.
Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm Nicholas Seaman.
And I'm Delmy Moran. We'll see you next time.